Okay, then finishing up with our carrier payer ID number, and we'll cover these fields up at the top. But first, in regards to it, if you do need an agreement, you can check the box here, EDI Agreement Required. When you check this box, it's going to look at your system defaults and see what it's supposed to do, because if you watch the system default training video, it'll say when you check this box, did you want to hold all the claims and just wait until you're approved? In which case you can come back here and check EDI Agreement Approved, or you can leave it unchecked and just uncheck that, and it will still release your claims. I have some clients that do it either way, that's fine. Or will it hold the claim, or will it drop it to paper in-house? You can print it, stuff it, and stamp it, mail it off. Or the third option is where you can go e-claims to paper, just meaning that you can submit your claims electronically to McKesson, and then, like I said, for a fee, they'll drop it, stuff it, and stamp it, and mail it off for you. If you recall your system defaults, Utilities to System Defaults, over into the categories, click on Claims, and right here, until your EDI enrollment is approved. What do you want to do with it? Do you want to hold all claims to Medicare? Do you want to print them in office, in other words, drop them to paper? Or do you want to have them go electronically to McKesson and then have them drop it to paper? Of course, if you select this, then, I'm going to leave this open, go back to the carriers, you need to make sure that off of the McKesson report that you find the correct paper CPID number. So all of mine are on hold, and this is kind of split down the middle, especially for Medicare. Actually, it's going more 70-30. Most of the clients I work with decide to hold all their Medicare claims until they get approved, because Medicare is getting really finicky about accepting paper claims. And by the time they submit their paper claims and it gets processed, at least the paper takes a while, by the time they get approved electronically, they can submit these out and have them just return about the same time or just as fast. So, again, this is up to you. Be sure to save your work, close out. And since this one is the commercial Aetna and there's no agreement needed, I'm just going to leave these boxes alone and just continue on. Let's go to the copay amount here. Now, most 99% of the time the clients won't put anything in the copay amount, because if you put a copay here, $15, $20, that's going to apply to anybody who has Aetna or is tied to this, at least this AET1, Aetna 1. Most patients are going to have different copays from the same insurance carrier, so we'll leave this blank. You can watch the patient demographics training video and set up the copay per patient individually of what it is, than doing it across the board by setting it up by the carrier here. Show provider legacy number, NPI number, or both. There are some insurance carriers out there that aren't ready to accept NPI numbers yet. They're not set up. They're still going off of the UPIN number, the Unique Provider Identification Number, also called as the legacy number. Now, if the insurance carrier needs that to be on the claim, either submitting electronically or dropping to paper, then you can select legacy. If they're already up and running on NPI, they don't need it, then go with NPI. If you're not sure, at least for me, I select both. I want them both to go out until I get something back from the carrier that says, look, we just need the NPI number. If you don't know your UPIN number, you can go to www.upinregistry.com and find out what your UPIN number is. Eventually, the UPIN number is supposed to be done away with in favor of the NPI number, but that remains to be seen as of today, so I'm going to go with both. Next, the provider ID required. Now, this gets a little bit tricky. This is advanced and you were talking about, not any other software that you may have used previously. What I mean is that you can check this box, and it means that the provider ID is required before this claim can go out. So if we don't have the ID, and you can see the ID button here is not available because we haven't saved the insurance carrier yet, once we save it, then these buttons will open up for us to go into a subscreen to set up the provider's ID. Now, this is what I'm talking about. All commercial carriers, every single commercial carrier does not require a provider ID. You may argue with me and say, well, they do. But you see, McKesson set up an agreement with the insurance carriers that they would not accept any provider IDs assigned by the insurance carrier. Instead, they're okay if you just submit your tax identification number, which by default goes out if no provider ID is in this ID screen, the IDs button. So what this means, and you'll usually only use this probably for your state carriers, because state carriers, the agreements are that you do need to have a provider ID, but commercial carriers, no. If you go against my advice here and you actually enter in a provider ID for your commercial carriers, McKesson is going to reject them. I'm not going to check provider ID required. Basically, when I set up my insurance carrier the first time, if I enter in for the state carriers their provider ID, then I don't have to really worry about that box. Again, it prevents all claims from going out unless you have an ID in the ID screen. Bill $0 claims / line items. You can check this box if the carrier requires that all services, even those with a $0 balance, are to be billed. Still good to check anyways, in my opinion, in case a patient pays in full at the time of service and you still need to bill the carrier in full, even though the patient just paid the balance to 0. Because if you don't check this box and the patient pays 0, and as a favor you're billing the insurance carrier, if the balance is already paid, the claim isn't going to go out. That's why you may want to check this box if the patient's going to pay up front, but you still want to charge the insurance carrier, like I said, as a favor to the patient. No DME charges durable medical equipment. Checking this box indicates that the carrier does not accept DME charges. And when this insurance carrier, if we check this box for Aetna, is linked to a patient, then the user, you, is going to be prompted to select another carrier or set up another carrier that does accept durable medical equipment charges. So you can have two insurance carriers, one that doesn't, in this case Aetna if I checked it, and one that does. I'm going to uncheck it. And a little bit more information about this is that when the patient does have two different carriers, one that accepts DME and one that doesn't, when the claim is billed, all of the number codes, your CPT codes starting with the letter L, will be split off onto another visit number and billed to the DME carrier, and all DME charges will go to this carrier. It's a little bit of a background to let you know what's going to happen if you do have to set up two insurance carriers because one doesn't accept the DME charges. Down here, the notes, they're just basically for you, anything you want to type in about the insurance carrier. Your procedure box and your diagnosis box, basically you want to watch the procedure code training video and the diagnosis code training video. These will be cross-references to the insurance carrier here. But as a quick reminder here, let me pull up my master files to transaction codes to the charge code screen. Pull up a procedure code, I'll just type in 1 and hit the tab key. Anyways, this is my procedure code or my test procedure code, but down at the bottom you see those boxes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If you have a procedure code that you use on all insurance carriers except for maybe one, let's say Aetna doesn't like the number 1, it likes a different procedure code instead, type it in here for your first cross-reference, and you see that box, go over to the insurance carrier screen, and it's pulling number 1. Or you can pull it from box 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6. So like I said, if the insurance carrier is a little bit particular, different from all the others, and wants a different procedure code billed out, then go ahead and use it as a cross-reference. Again, this goes into more detail watching the procedure code training video and the diagnosis codes, but there's a quick overview. Now we're not finished yet. This is all the basic information to get us started. Next we have to save it. After we save it, then we need to go ahead and set up a few subscreens, and you can see the buttons aren't available yet until we save it. So let's go ahead and click Save. Also, as a warning here, after the carrier has been added, it says please remember that if this carrier is assigned to a specific group or provider IDs are required, to go ahead and fill them out. So I'll go ahead and click OK. The next warning that pops up is only if you selected the legacy number of both. If you just chose NPI, you wouldn't get this warning here. But because you're choosing the legacy number of both, if you want the UPIN number or the legacy number by default will not go out on the claims for you. We have to set those up. So what it's telling us here is go into the EDI Other screen, that button right there that we'll go to, and set those up accordingly. So go ahead and click OK. And let's do that. Let's go ahead and go to the EDI Other screen. Now first, whether you want to go and set a UPIN number up on this claim or not, you always have to set up the EDI Other screen for every insurance carrier. Okay, I overemphasized that, but you got the point. Okay, so by default on every insurance carrier, we got a few fields that we need to have set up. First is the payment source and also the insurance type. Click on the drop down arrow. You've got your Medicare. And it's not alphabetized, so if you're looking for Blue Cross or Blue Shield or Blue Cross Blue Shield, it's there. Here's the rule of thumb. For all commercial carriers, always select commercial insurance. For your state carriers like Blue Cross Blue Shield, or if you're in California, Blue Cross or Blue Shield, or if it's Medicaid or Medicare, select those. Also TRICARE. Whatever you do, I recommend that you don't use HMO or FEP or anything like that. When in doubt, use commercial insurance. And the reason why I say that is because even though AdvancedMD has a list of them here, a lot of these I would say, I'm not sure if outdated is the right term, but this is a generic one that will get all your claims through electronically if they're not Medicare or Medicaid or your big carriers, your state carriers. So this is Aetna. I'm going to go ahead and select commercial carrier. The only other ones I would select is again Medicare, Medicaid for the state carriers, Blue Cross Blue Shield, or Blue Cross and Blue Shield. Everybody else, except maybe TRICARE, Champus, I would set up as commercial insurance carrier. Now, for the most part, the claims will go out clean if you follow my guidelines here. Once in a while, they may not. That's okay. You can have those set up and talk to Advanced MD support. So commercial insurance. Insurance type. Well, the options are now limited on the insurance type. Here, it's either going to be Medicare or Medicaid, and everything else I recommend going commercial, especially obviously for all your commercial carriers. Now, let me go back and talk about Medicare. If you only have Medicare billing as the primary, never as the secondary, choose Medicare primary. If you bill Medicare as both the primary and the secondary, then choose Medicare policy. And of course, your Medicaid policy if we're setting up for Medicaid. Otherwise, everything else I would choose commercial. These other fields we're going to skip. Some of them are not in use at the time. We'll talk about them later, but we're talking about a basic setup. Next is your checkbox. Click on the drop-down arrow. If it's Medicare, Medicaid, choose them appropriately. There's Champus, TRICARE. Everything else is going to be other.